Detective Callum was in a bank and heard two women arguing. Mrs. Lewis and Mrs. Clark were both claiming that a handbag was theirs. Luckily, one young man took a picture of the waiting room just before the argument. So take a look and tell who the handbag belongs to. The handbag stands right between the women. However, Mrs. Lewis has a cast, and the bag stands next to her broken arm. If it was her handbag, she would put it on the other side of her, so the bag must belong to Mrs. Clark. It was Christmas morning in California, and Detective Callum got an anonymous note that someone going to Alaska would hijack the plane and take it to Hawaii. He arrived at the airport and stopped several people. Take a look at them and tell who's planning to hijack the plane. It must be the man who's the very first in line. It's Christmas, and people are going to Alaska. It's cold there in winter. Still, the guy is lightly dressed and doesn't have any luggage with him. It seems that he knows he isn't planning to land in cold Alaska. Chase was watching TV in the living room while his wife, who was in her third trimester, was cooking dinner in the kitchen. Suddenly, Chase felt unwell and fell unconscious. His wife got dressed and took him to the hospital. When he finally woke up, he couldn't remember anything, including what his wife looked like. There were 3 women, each of them claimed to be his wife. Can you tell who his wife is? Firstly, his wife was pregnant and was in her third trimester, so she must have a belly. So it isn't the woman on the left who doesn't look pregnant at all. Now look at the shoes of the other 2 women. One of them has her shoes untied. That's because she couldn't lean down and tie them herself, and her unconscious husband couldn't help her. So it seems like she is his real wife. Mason was arrested for robbing a bank. The police knew that his girlfriend helped him and wanted to arrest her too. They had 4 suspects. One of them was the girlfriend who was lying. Another was his sister, who didn't rob the bank, but was also lying because she wanted to help. The other 2 girls were innocent and were telling the truth. So who is Mason's girlfriend? Selena says Amelia is his girlfriend. Felicia says Penelope is lying. Penelope says Selena is lying. Amelia says Felicia is not his sister. If Selena is telling the truth, Amelia is lying. Then Felicia is his sister who's lying. Therefore, Penelope is telling the truth. It contradicts that Selena is telling the truth. So, Selena is lying. Then, Penelope is telling the truth, and Felicia is lying. So, Amelia must be the other girl telling the truth. 2 liars are Selena and Felicia. They are Mason's girlfriend and sister. Since Amelia says Felicia isn't his sister, then Selena is his sister and Felicia is his girlfriend. A postman called Detective Callum and said someone needed help and gave the address. The detective arrived and found Mr. Hanks tied to a chair. Mr. Hanks said that he had been sitting there for several hours. Someone broke into his house at night, tied him up, and stole all of his money. His wife was outside the city. When the postman brought the mail in the morning, he asked for help. However, Detective Callum didn't believe the man and said that he staged it. Why didn't he believe Mr. Hanks? The letters the postman just brought don't lie on the floor by the door. Instead, they're on the shelf, where only someone who is inside the house could put it. If Mr. Hanks sat there tied up all night and was alone, it'd stay on the floor. Nick and Collins were traveling by train, and they were leaving at the same station. Collins stood up first and got his bag. But when Nick got his bag, he opened it and realized it wasn't his. So he accused Collins of trying to steal his bag. However, Collins says it was just an accident, because the bags looked exactly the same. Still, Nick didn't believe it was an accident. Take a look inside their bags and try to guess why. Collins' bag is only filled with a couple of plush toys. while Nick's bag had electronics and many books. Collins couldn't take Nick's bag by accident because even though they're similar, their weight is too different, and he'd noticed that. Esme was having a regular walk in the forest. In the evening, she decided to come back home but got lost. She was wandering around until, guess what? She found the witch's house. She walked in, pet the cat, and asked if the witch can send her home. The witch was about to start a frog farm, and she needed Esme's help. If Esme solves it, the witch will let her go. If not, Esme will have to stay forever and work on her frog farm. She got 2 frogs. The number of frogs doubles every day. The seller told her that her little frog pond in the yard would be filled with frogs entirely in 100 days. How many days will it take for the pond to be half filled? Since the number of frogs doubles every time, the pond will be half filled the day before the pond is filled completely. So it'll happen on the 99th day. Archer was watching TV when he got a call. Detective Callum said that his friend George was poisoned and asked him to come. Archer arrived as soon as he could and was immediately arrested for poisoning his friend. Why? The detective didn't say where exactly to come. Maybe coming to his friend's house could be logical, but they are in some park. How would Archer know where to come if he didn't know what happened? Emery was on the expedition and finally found an old cave where pirates used to leave their treasures. However, there are 4 chests, but only one had the gold. If Emery touches the wrong one, she'll get locked in the cave forever. The first chest said, "The treasure is in chest 2 or chest 4." The second one said, "It's in chest 1 or chest 3." The third chest says, "It's in here." The fourth one said, "It's not in here." However, only one of these statements was true. So which chest should Emery pick? If the treasure is in the first chest, statements 2 and 4 are correct. However, there should only be one correct one. If it's in the second chest, the first one and the fourth one are true. If it's in the third chest, then 2 statements are true, the second and third. So Emery should pick the fourth chest. This way, only the first statement is correct and the treasure is in the fourth one. In the morning, Mrs. Miller was wrapping Christmas presents for her family. She left to take a shower when she was done, but the gifts were gone when she returned. She went downstairs and asked her family who took the presents, but everyone denied taking them. Her husband said that he was watching TV the whole morning and didn't even get up. Her daughter, Amanda, said that she forgot about the laundry hanging outside last night, so she was out picking it up. Her other daughter, Jane, said that she was in the kitchen eating. Can you tell who lied? It was Amanda. Her laundry is perfectly folded and dry, but it's cold outside and the laundry would be all frozen if she just picked it up. Detective Callum was having his evening coffee in a cafe and heard a waiter and a female customer arguing. He came up to them and asked what happened. The waiter claimed the woman ordered a soup, but the woman said that she didn't. Detective Callum knew exactly who was lying. Who was it? The sign on the door says that the cafe serves hot dishes only till 4 p.m. Take a look at the clock. It's 7 p.m. Even if she wanted to, the woman couldn't order the soup because it was too late. So, the waiter is lying. Damon, Karis, and Geneva are best friends. Now, take a look at their hands and tell which one of them is a millionaire. Damon has a Versace watch on his wrist, but it must be a fake one. Look, Versace is written with an H. Karis has some gold bracelets, but she has scratched nail polish. Geneva has just one bracelet, but it's Gucci and silver, and her nails look very neat. So I'd say she's a millionaire.